Hi guys, it's Willow here. It is May 19th and I am just about to hit the streets with, hopefully I can get a shot of this, my little homage to Stop Bayer Monsanto. I also have a Stop GM Alfalfa placard on my back. I'm loaded for bear with pertinent messages here today. There are marches against Monsanto going on all over the globe. There are a handful of communities in Canada that are actually more than a handful. Let's give those communities their props, but not as many as I would have hoped. And there's not a march in my own area. I reached out to kind of try to find some people who might be interested. Came up short, so I thought, hey, one person can do big things in this world, right? So I decided I would take to the streets. Yeah, these are the streets. It's, it's a single drop in the ocean, and each single drop is important, right? Hi guys, it's Willow here. Another little update on my journey, my march, one-woman march against Bayer Monsanto. I am now traveling, so I've traveled around my downtown area in the town where I live, and I've actually had quite a few people asking me what this is all about. I ran into my friend and she knew what it was about, but most people are actually asking me what Monsanto even is. So that tells me that, on a kind of, from a baseline level, we have some public education we need to be doing pretty desperately. And the difficult part is that there's so much charged energy with GMOs and chemical herbicides and chemical pesticides. There's been so much, of the corporate PR machine that has kind of turned people's minds towards these things being benign. Unfortunately, they are far from benign. Multiple independent animal feeding trials have shown fairly severe health damage in the animals when they're eating GM diets, and also when they're exposed to even tiny doses of glyphosate, which is the primary ingredient in Roundup, which is the #1 herbicide used in the world. So even at levels that the regulatory agencies are telling us are safe for human and animal consumption, the animal feeding trials are telling us, is not the case. That's not true, okay? So there's a lot of education that needs to be going on. I don't know if I can get a shot of my sign here, but I've just been kind of traipsing up and down these roads. Oops, sorry. And there's not much traffic going on right now, but there has been in the past. So yeah, it's my one-woman march against Monsanto. It's going fairly well, and I will check in again. Okay, you guys, I have just a quick little update here for you. I just got a honk, okay? A honk. Honking is really what keeps marchers against Monsanto going. So please honk your support if you want to stop Bayer Monsanto, and I so desperately do want to do that. Okay, well, that's about all she wrote for this one-woman march against Bayer Monsanto 2018. I would say overall it was a successful march. I basically started in the downtown area and splunked around there, just walked around those streets and talked to people. And then I took the main thoroughfare that goes through town and walked quite far up that main thoroughfare. So, at least a couple hundred people in their vehicles saw me. Different people that were walking around or shopping saw my signs. Whether or not they read them, whether it meant anything to them. That's out of my hands. That's not my concern, right? Overall, I got a fair amount of good response. I had 10 honks, 1 thumbs up, 1 excited wave, and 1 guy who yelled out his truck window, "Monsanto sucks." And yes, sir, I concur with that. I concur. I also had a lady stop me and ask me why there weren't more people. And you know, that's really a good question. But basically, you know, I've found it's surprising. This area is known for its concern about organics and organic food and, you know, healthy lifestyles and all that kind of thing. But there's not very much, you know, anti-GMO, anti-chemical herbicide, you know, anti-Bayer Monsanto sentiment in this area. So actually, I would say there's probably a fair amount of sentiment. There just isn't a lot of public expression of that sentiment. People are a little more reserved in the town that I live in. They're not as out there. And I would say the biggest response I got from people today, you know, walking down the street with these signs, you know, these Sharpie signs, was wariness. Okay, so people are kind of wary of people like me. And I, to a certain extent, understand that, right? They're thinking, is this woman crazy? Is she going to accost me with a bunch of information that I don't want to hear? Is she going to try to sell me something? You know, is she going to do something really crazy? So I do somewhat get it. I'm honestly surprised by the number of people who asked me what Monsanto was. So there were a fair amount of people who, you know, literally do not have much of a grasp of, you know, the genetic modification of our food supply or of the, you know, the corporations that are doing it. But overall, I have to say that, you know, getting some honks, getting some excited people, like kind of hooting and hollering at their window, like that made it all worth it. And honestly, you know, whether there's just me or whether there's a group of like 10 or 15 of us, you know, to me it doesn't really matter so much. I think that one single protester can be equally effective as many other protesters. I did try to reach out through another March Against Monsanto group that's the closest one to this area where I'm living, and no takers. So I couldn't find any other people who were interested in organizing a full-on march. And you know, I'm primarily, you know, I'm a person who does things on my own anyway, so it kind of worked out. But now seeing that there is a little bit of, you know, a little bit of interest, a little bit of support in this area, I might try to branch out and reach out to in different avenues to see if I can spread the word. I've approached a few organizations about doing a talk on genetically modified alfalfa, and not really any interest there. So, you know, some hits, some misses. I'm taking this as a major win because basically, you know, I love seeing people protesting these things. I love seeing people who are informed and aware and who want to educate people and who want to really stop, you know, stop Bayer Monsanto. So, you know, I'm happy to just be that person out there where people are getting excited. You know, they're just doing their Saturday errands and they get excited because they see some, you know, crazy radical walking down the street with Sharpie poster board signs. It's been a good day. So for Willow in this undisclosed location in British Columbia, I am signing off within I would say a successful one-woman march against Bayer Monsanto. And I am signing off from one of the ground zero most powerful places that I could be in the fight against corporate food and against genetically modified food and chemical-ridden food. And that is the community garden. Yeah. This is what we need more of, friends. And these, you may remember these beds, member beds, do not pick. These beds from last year, I got the same ones again. And I just actually have a few little things coming up here. I don't know whether I can even really let's see here, show you guys. That is some kale. And I basically have chard and kale in this bed. I'm gonna do a ton of chard and kale, a few carrots. There's my strawberries. They're looking beautiful. This strawberry plant has had babies. There's a baby here. There's a baby here. And there's a baby here. So they branched out as far as they possibly could from their mommy. They're like everywhere. Okay, and then in this bed, I have arugula coming up. Oops, get my camera strap out of there. Arugula, which is awesome. Yeah! Stop there, Monsanto. Awesome. That guy in the vehicle there just gave us support for my one-woman band. And then let's see if I can hone in on these guys. I have some beets, the little green guys that they're like two long leaves. And then I have some potatoes. This is really exciting. I've grown potatoes on my family farm, but this is the first time I've grown them myself. So I have this little dude, and oops, sorry, I had it on automatic focus and it wasn't. This little dude, and we've got that dude, and that guy right there. So yay! Lots of nice sproutlings here to finish off our day of protesting and our day of stopping Bayer Monsanto. Wow, you guys, and we have some really bad flooding going on all around this area. It hasn't actually hit us too badly yet. This is the park, the walking trail in the park is all covered. You can't really cross it because the water goes right back into there. So, yeah. Okay guys, so one final update on my one-woman march against Bayer Monsanto today. I finished off my march with a walk through our local park, and I had a really nice conversation with a woman who was biking through the park about Bayer Monsanto and GMOs, and you know, she was really interested in the information, so I gave her some information. I gave her one of my zines, and then as we were speaking, another couple rode up on their bikes and they asked me about my signs, and they actually didn't know about Monsanto or about genetic modification, so I gave them a quick little, crash course on that. And then, basically just as I walked through the park, there were a few people, there were a couple elderly couples that stopped me and asked me about what my signs meant. Then there was like a little boy who was there with his brother who asked me about it. And I tried to explain what genetic modification of food was to him. And I asked him if he had heard of GMOs before. And he said, I think I might learn that next year in grade 3. So adorable. And honestly, I really hope that he does. It would be so great if our grade 3s were learning about the dangers of genetic modification in our food supply, but I won't hold my breath on that one. I have a feeling there is not much coverage of GMOs in either elementary or high school curricula in Canada or the US. So yeah, anyway, that was really nice to hear. Just to have people interested in, and to be able to even just teach the basics to people, because there's so little that's getting out there beyond sort of people who already are concerned about these types of issues, so it's nice to have a little crossover there. And then as I was walking home, I passed by a man who lives on my street, and he said that he has been involved in these types of protests before. So he asked me if he had missed the march, and I said, well, I am the march, so you can basically just join right in, and then we're the march. So anyway, I just basically wanted to give a little update just to show you that one person can make a difference. Honestly, one person putting sort of their values and their passions into action is, you know, that's the way we do it. We do it drop by drop, drip by drip, you know what I mean? It's not a situation where, you know, you need an external group, right? There are March Against Monsanto groups, absolutely, but you don't need those groups. You can take independent action, and it's meaningful action. You know, I've been able to, you know, get at least the signs across to, you know, hundreds of people today, and I've spoken directly with a number of people as well. So it's something that's worthwhile doing, you know, just kind of striking out on your own and observing this day however it feels right for you to observe it, right? There are a number of different ways that you can observe this day. You don't necessarily have to take to the streets, right? You don't necessarily have to do a one woman or one man version of the march, but even just, you know, speaking out about it on social media or doing a YouTube video about it, or, you know, one of the biggest things, of course, is being extremely vigilant about your food, right? And making sure that your food is as high quality as possible. So with that, I will show you guys a quick little tour of my gardens this year. So of course I have the 2 beds at the community garden, and then my landlord was wonderful and allowed me to make this little guy. He helped me to make this little guy last year. And I don't know if you can see these little bok choys that are coming up, but they're looking pretty good all along in a row here. And I will just say that I found that bok choy is the easiest and fastest green to grow. So you can plant it quite early in the spring. It's a cool weather plant, so you can plant it, you know, when it's still very cool. And it springs up really fast, and honestly you'll be eating bok choy far before you'll be eating chard or kale or spinach or, you know, any of those types of things. And then here is my hedge bed. I don't know if that's in focus, sorry guys. This is all going to be chock full of vegetables soon. It's all planted and they've started coming up. I'm just going to take you down to the perennial area, which is the so there's some oregano, and we have some chives, some thyme, and there's a wee little, you can see, little lettuce plant back there. And then beside him I have my strawberry plant with a bunch of oxalis that's grown in, which is burgundy. I didn't actually know what this oxalis was. It's because it came up with my strawberry plant here in this bed and also at the community garden. So I thought it was some kind of an offshoot of the plant itself, but it's actually, there must have been some seed in with the strawberry, because, yeah, I don't know if you can, how clearly you can see that, but it's this kind of burgundy plant, and it's sort of like it kind of looks like a 3-leaf clover, and each of the leaves look like hearts, look like little hearts. Can you see that, you guys? I don't know if I've got there you go. See how they look like little hearts like that? And so anyway, I found out that this is called the luck plant and also the love plant. So luck and love coming my way. Oops, sorry, I think I was just covering the microphone, but just in case you missed that, luck and love. Luck and love. Okay, so, and I will say also, I'm not showing this off like to try to be, you know, oh, I'm so precious, I'm so fantastic growing my own vegetables. Like, the thing is, for me, is it's a survival based thing. So I need to grow these high quality, you know, chemical free vegetables, and I also need to do that for the financial benefit of it. So it's really a survival based thing for me. It's not, I'm not trying to be a hipster or, you know, trying to be all folksy cute or anything like that. It's literally just you know, the practicality of being able to grow your own food is huge. And you know, more and more people taking that on, and more people accessing local food, farmers markets, community supported agriculture, all these kind of things. These are all little ways that we can chip away at this, you know, corporate monolith, megalith, just this, you know, this corporate, you know, toxification of our food supply. It's a way that we can push back. And it's also a way that we can just sort of, you know, feed ourselves, right? And I mean that in a soulful way as well as a physical way. It feeds a person physically to grow their own food, and it also feeds a person, you know, in the soul and spirit as well to do that. So anyway, with that, I am going to declare this One Woman March Against Bayer Monsanto, May 19th, 2018, as a rousing success. It was a small march, but it was also a very productive march. A lot of good conversations, spurred a lot of good feelings. You know, there's a real kind of celebratory feel to these marches. They're not scary or nasty or dark or depressing or anything like that. It's the thing that always strikes me is just how much joy is involved with people coming together to, you know, share their concerns about the direction things are going. And I would love to see more of that. So until next year, signing off.